Hey guys, in this transmission I'm going to discuss levels of consciousness or chakras and how you come to this authority over the whole everything in your reality, all the cells in your body that are construct within the consciousness and then the external reality and what's happening there. And you can then direct the movie. But talking about this type of quantum shifting, you have different movies, different timelines, and you can just surf them like you have a video console or cable TV or a game console where you are in charge. Is limited by two things. First thing, co-creation. When there are other people in the room, what they select and how you can influence their game, you cannot. You need to make contracts and agreements that are usually made on a subconscious level when you're still in the game immersion. So you're not realizing that you're the creator, but on a higher level of your soul or your higher self, you're still creating etheric contracts with everything and everyone that's going to happen to you. Now, when you expand your consciousness by unlocking gates, unlocking chakras, going to a different level, then everything is contained within your consciousness, even the engine, the simulator, the universe, and then the contract. So you have a lot of then flexibility how you contract to co-create or co-play with someone, or what you experience in your individual reality is unlimited. Okay, but that does not mean that other people are going to participate or see it. Now, let's first inspect the layers, okay, or the floors of consciousness. Because here's the deal. I'm talking here about quantum shifting. Surfing the movie and there's a console and you're controlling the console and then you're surfing your reality in whatever way you anchor into whatever. There's like infinite possibilities. You just need to anchor into them and then you bring these timelines in and this like instant all the time manifestation, but you can really surf infinite possibilities. Okay? Now, before we are there, we are capped on a chakra level. Why? Because we need to figure out the body, walking and talking. And then it's a very complex simulation. So there are other people, so you're learning to, from being a narcissistic baby that's like, I want all the time, right? You need to become conscious individual, and then you need to learn how to relate to others, and all this is very complex, okay? And then you can understand that everything is informed by patterns, and that these patterns are looping your reality feedback loops. And then you can start to be your little alchemist or shaman and see that even if you shift things, some relationships still play the same pattern. And then you say, okay, I'm the author, it's my pattern, so the patterns are being triggered by whatever is happening if it's not to your gamified satisfaction. And now you're shifting your patterns, you're alchemizing your patterns, so that's already spiritual or emotional maturity, where you see that you're a soul that is loomed from patterns and now you're mending with that and you're mastering that. But then on the overall layer, all of this reality, the console and the patterns is relative because it's all a construct within you as one creator, one consciousness. So that's your absolute level. From the absolute level, all the subsequent layers of the cake or the simulator are relative. Yes? So now you have a lot of flex in your game, but also you have freed yourself from all the previous contracts which were designed on level 1, level 2, level 3, level 4, 5, 7, right? So you need to forsake the level before you go naturally to expansion on the next level. This we call maturity. But this we also call gatekeepers, like on the door of your chakra 6, it is devil, and the devil is like, hey, do you want more peanuts? And you're like, yes, I'll have more peanuts, and then you don't go through the door. And then you come next time and the devil is, would you like more physical goods and services? And you're like, yeah, let me get those sensual pleasures, let's eat, fuck and do drugs. And then it does not satisfy you. okay, after a certain time, and then you're like, knock knock, I'm knocking on the chakra 6 and whatnot, and then the devil's like, welcome, would you like more physical like fame and riches and whatnot? And you're like, no, it's boring. Okay, you may pass, and then you open the door, and the next level is the next version of you. So basically, you are the gates, you are the gatekeepers, and it is upon your free will to which level of the game you're still having fun, playing still the same old game, the same old loop, or you're getting frustrated with the loop because you've seen it all before, because maybe you maybe played this game before, so you just want to open doors, go all the way up where you already attained some mastery over that level in your previous gameplay incarnation. What you incarnated into the server and you played this game before. Good. So devils and levels are then just kind of like announcing, hey, are you sure you want to open this door? As Jesus said, knock and the door shall be opened, because you have all the keys and you put all the gatekeepers in front all of the doors. In the doors inside of your body are literally chakras, so you can learn how to walk and then open the next door and learn how to play with your little toys, and then open the next door and learn how to go to school and hang out with your friends, and then open the next door and learn how to go into the world and travel all the way across the globe all on your own, and then open the next door and learn how to make a career, and then like do business with people and have this type of relate, and then do the next door and learn politics and diplomacy. And each stage of maturity has its own game, okay? And then there's even the ultimate game, which is like you're already a yogi, or you have already opened all of your chakras. Now the game is infinite because you have more games. You're not just here now in this body, you're in a lot of places, in a lot of bodies. And you can space travel, okay, go to different planets or reality constructs, and blah blah blah. So it's all good. But now, here we are talking about certain aspect, which is like quantum jumping. Well, to quantum shift, you have to be observing reality from chakra 6 or 8, which is even higher, where the console is creating all of this stuff, bringing the thing into 6, bringing the thing into 4, bringing the thing into root. Whatever you bring, top to bottom and bottom to top, whatever you say, shifts your reality. So, if this makes sense, then I'm going to share the example that I don't share so casually with so many people. There was Corona, everybody knows. Now everybody is kept on a level, but not everybody, but like most people in the playing field, in the multiplayer arena, are still just learning the game. They're in the kindergarten, they're just playing by the rules and like of the physical reality and whatnot, and it's interesting there. Some people are spiritually evolved, some people are way more evolved than whatever I can imagine even, or whatever you can imagine, because there is literally Satoru Gojo, or if you've seen like anime and Naruto and this kind of stuff, there have been these lifetimes, and some of them were yours, but maybe in this lifetime you're just doing something, like you're being a bartender, very evolved, but like you're just having a simple life, like pouring coffee for people, whatever, right? Because it does not matter. All it's just fun, okay? In the eye and I, it's all just entertainment, infinite theater. So basically, where we were a couple of years ago, there's a lot of people that have divine presence unlocked in their chakra. There's a lot of people, they are in the simulation of a physical reality, responding to that reality without even invoking their higher self to change their reality, even praying to God to change their reality, but just accepting reality as it is. So, I go to a restaurant, people say, it's going to be lockdown and we're closing the restaurant and the whole city is going to be closed, and I change the channel effortlessly and the restaurant stays open, and in my movie there's no corona. Now at that point, I'm in a timeline where there's a few people actually. There's like less people in that timeline than in the timeline where everybody subscribed into the movie play, into the theater play that was advertised on TV. You know, because hey, here's how we create, here's how we subscribe into reality. We all think there is an objective reality, and it's advertised on the media channels, and then we accept it by default because we are entertained. And then you enter and you're tamed. And so funny thing, I just choose a timeline where there's no corona, and while I'm sitting in the restaurant, immediately there's a quantum shift where the restaurant stays open. Even though the staff came, informed me in that timeline that they're about to close the restaurant like early, and now it's like police curfew and whatnot. And so I console switch up the timeline. I don't want a police curfew. I don't want to close the restaurant. I want to hang out with people and blah blah blah. So new staff comes. They give us menus. They give us dinner. They give us coffee. They give us everything, and the restaurant stays open. So I just shift. But now, funny thing. Weeks pass by. In my little town, I'm going to the same restaurant every day. There's no corona in my timeline, and all is well. But now, I'm interacting with another player in the street. 3 weeks have passed. 3 weeks have passed. This other player that I'm running into in this mass multiplayer online RPG role-playing video game says to me, "What have you been doing this whole time? Everything was closed for 3 weeks. There was a lockdown." I'm meeting him in front of our favorite restaurant, where I have been sitting every day, and the restaurant was open and there was no corona. And I'm saying, I was just here in the restaurant, there was no lockdown, it was all fine. He says, I was walking in this street on a daily basis, and the restaurant had a closed notice, closed for lockdown notice, and it was closed for 3 days, and I was sitting at home and everything was closed. I'm like, interesting. Interesting channel of reality, like I wouldn't choose that one. I wouldn't choose that channel of reality. That's not the channel of reality that I prefer to watch and like play inside of. That's not my preferred timeline. I did have a choice. I used my choice, and I'm noticing how we make choices is kind of like, you know, people tell us something's happening and then we subscribe into it. So we're not often using our authority over what do we want to see. We're also very happy with the multiplayer and what everybody else is creating and co-creating or being a co-player and co-actor, a co-role in somebody else's timeline. So when somebody creates a timeline, okay, like some really, really creative mofos, they create a timeline of a collective pandemic. And it's also a timeline of black magic. I mean, no offense, but like it's just a timeline of how to control other people by fear. Okay, so it's not like I'm offering you sound advice on how to play the game of life and you are exalted by what I told you and you're here because it's actually rewarding. No, it's actually diminishing your sense of creativity, diminishing your sense of authority, authorship, and it's telling you that you need to be afraid and do what everybody else does and stay at home. So it's kind of like a shitty prospect. And you're God in a video game that you own and you are subscribing, or maybe not, but some people, many people, are just wearing masks everywhere and just subscribing into this timeline. Some of these unknowingly, because they're baby gods, so they're just still in the movie, so they don't know what's happening, right? But even spiritual beings and magicians are kind of like taking it for granted that it's like, oh, it's fun. We're being imprisoned. And we don't have a say. We don't have a say. We don't have a say in this, so we're just gonna do what they tell us. Okay? Now imagine me coming to you and just telling you to comply with whatever I tell you. Because you're not trained to perceive me as government or to reassign the creative authorship of your life to me, you would say, come on, Jovan, like, get the fuck out. If I say, hey, sit down now, get up now, comply with what I say, go home, stay home, like, you would see me as a lunatic. And me insisting that I would, I don't know, vaccinate you, or punish you, or put you in prison for non-complying with my standard of how I want to play the game, you would say, Jovan, come on, bro, just like, like, get something to drink, like, just chill out, like, stop bothering us. That would be a normal, natural reaction. Or we can play, some BDSM, and I can be the dungeon keeper, and you can be my pet or a slave, and we say, okay, that's fun, let me be your pet. Yes, master, I will fetch. Here you go, master, here you go. So that's fun, if it's consensual. And you know what? The whole freaking reality is consensual. So you don't have to give consent to anything, basically, but we are. Because, we like having friends, we like having like a collective team, we like participating in a collective multiplayer arena team, and then sometimes for some things we take a stand and we're like, yeah, sorry, like I'm not going to that party. It's kind of boring. I don't want to be a pet. I don't want to be a slave anymore. I don't want to be anybody's master anymore. I just want to be like having few people that want to, play fun, and then we get together and then we play Monopoly or another board game, okay? Which works in the same way. You accept the constriction and the rules that are prophesied by the Monopoly game master, and then we all become this little guy that has to go to jail when the Monopoly says you need to go to jail, but then you can get a get out of jail free card or whatnot. So even the earth is a game board. Let's just repeat that once again. Even the plane of the earth, maybe it's flat, maybe it's both flat and round depending on the perspective. This is not really even important, but it's a board game. Maybe it's spherical board game, maybe it's flat, maybe it's both. Okay, so now I'm going to talk about what this was. I wanted to talk about the power of your intention versus quantum shifting, because there's a lot of people. The way I explain spirituality and relativity of the reality construct, that everything is the void, and then the void is form, and the form is void, and it's all just a mirage. That's a very absolute level. Right? And some people are very wizardly, if that's a word. Some people are very successful manifestors, even without really going into all the details of the architecture of reality. So how they do it? They can focus. And when you can focus your mind to stay centered with one intention, slowly but surely, your other options dissolve, and then you tune into that channel, you tune into that movie. It's just like flipping with a remote control, your cable TV, and then you get interested and you decide you want to go into something, and then that movie or whatever Netflix show like just develops further and further, and you decide to binge it, and then you really go all in into it. So your mind is Netflix, and the mind, they say, is not a very good master because it can just give you more and more and more and more and more thumbnails and more options and more stuff that you can always be distracted by your own console, okay, or sub-console of your own individual, like, team, whatever. So we can be flimsy and distracted, and, you know, that's cool because it's still interesting and nobody's judging you. That's not what creates very systematic architectures or result. Focus does, though. So some people have naturally, or they haven't trained, to kill the other tabs and remain in the tab of their choosing, and then just by prolonging the relationship, the ritual, the consecration of that starts to amplify in their reality. So whatever you want to multiply, you just need to stay glued to that. If you like to browse, that's fun. It's fun. It might not amount to a very deep or a very tall building. You might have many small buildings, which is fine. No preference here, actually. I'm just saying how it works. So some people have very good rituals, and they're very determined about what they want to do, and maybe they have even incarnated with this intention, overwhelming their template, so they're just like going and doing that one thing, like soccer. And they're just becoming the master of the ball, and they can like roll the ball in every way possible, and it's just a very interesting game for them. And some people, maybe you like different teams, and you have this whole assortment of teams where you like want to go a little bit into that, want to go a little bit into that. It all feeds into the experience of the ultimate higher self, which is you, me. Okay, but then you have an oversoul that is you before you incarnate into the server. So from your oversoul level, you will have multiple gameplays or multiple incarnations. And then the oversoul has an oversoul, and oversoul has an oversoul, and it all comes into the one basic singularity where all the experience is manifested from, and all the experience is actually fed into, or everything is experienced by this one self. Yeah, we know that. So for some people, they don't care about the architecture, but they can really control their focus, and they're getting amazing results with this reality, or whatever aspect of this reality they dedicate their focus, time, and attention to. Yeah. Now, there's a slight difference. To quantum shifting. But what I wanted to say is that you don't need like fancy woo-woo jargon to actually be successful with manifestation, or whatever your life goal is, whatever you're pursuing in the game of life. Or you can do it in this all-around way by moving the energy, orbiting the energy, realizing that emptiness is form, form is emptiness. This is also natural because whenever you want to go into the next layer of consciousness, you have to give up the working of the game and your software, because you're doing a software update, OS update, right? So you have to give up the way that you interacted with reality. When you was a teenager, when you was more mature, when you was a toddler, when you was more mature, when you was more mature, when you was more mature, spiritual maturity, but then spiritual ego, then you have to give up that. Any clinging really to come to the ultimate absolute. In the end, you master every level of the cake, layer of the cake. You know, the strawberry layer, the banana layer, the fill, the sprinkles, the crust. And you can go back into being a little narcissistic toddler or baby that just me, I want. But so little selfish animal that is interested in the survival of your entity, that we are as babies. No offense, calling kids narcissistic. No offense, like it's normal. Self-preservation and also me time. But also being compassionate and empathetic towards other people because, hey, you've been there, you had relationships too, right? Then being also diplomatic and like, you know how to listen, you know when to talk, you know when to listen, you know how to interact with society and other individuals, you know how to behave. Amazing. So you're selfish, narcissistic, but then you're also compassionate and nice to others. Then you can create relationships and just have fun and friends and business partners or whatever. Then on another level of reality, it's all relative and nothing is real. So you can shift whatever team is playing and just script a different movie if you want to do it from that level. And then on even outside of that level, there's nothing happening. On the absolute level, it's all a mirage. So, fun times in the game of life, yes. I'm doing private mentorships one-on-one. Hit me up if this is for you. Oh, and I'm also having a channel with meditations open now on Telegram, so I'll put the link. Wait, headphones were messing with me, so let me repeat that. Private mentorships, one-on-one, DM or something, find me on Instagram, DM me or something. Also link to my Telegram channel where I post transmissions and meditations that you can close your eyes, plug your headphones in, and experience yourself as the ultimate absolute emptiness, or shift your timelines or whatever. Highly beneficial, highly beneficial. You can manifest better mood boards, better templates for your gameplay. It's all available in the infinite. So check me out, hit me up, and I'll see you on the flip side. Nyami.